Ladies and gentlemen, the first international sighting. Hey everyone, this is Mario Luigi Glitchy 4 here, and welcome back to another wonderful weekend. A very special wonderful weekend, you may say, because it is THON weekend this weekend. And this is probably going to be another long weekend. Depends on how long the video title or video length is. You'll already have seen it on YouTube before you even clicked on it from the thumbnail. So, yes, this will be a long weekend. It is THON weekend. It is going to be an incredible time. And better yet, I have a floor pass. So that means I can show you guys down on the floor what the dealio is. And not only that, but also at this time, I have been live a few times at least this weekend via TikTok and maybe on YouTube, but I'm not too sure if I'm gonna post myself on YouTube yet. But that will be happening this weekend, and it will have happened this weekend. Let's put it that way. So right now I'm heading up to get on the bus so we can head down and party on, well, I mean not party on, but to raise money for awareness for kids with THON and with the 4 Diamonds program down at Penn State, Maine in the Bryce Jordan Center yet again. So let's start this wonderful weekend and let's start the fun, because 46 hours of standing is going to be fun. We made it. We made it into State College. We are here at one of the hotels that we were staying at for the weekend, and now we are heading over to Bryce Jordan Center to check in and to check out what's going on down there, because as everyone knows, it's THON weekend. You know, I'm really smart standing out here without a coat. This is lovely. Oh. Yeah. Don't shove John in my face! Oh!
We have officially made it. We're ready to get this party started. Woo! It feels so good to be home again. There's our dancers right down there. Just waiting.
Real exciting times. We already got our floor passes. Excited? I'm excited myself as well. Let's head down. This year, I'm gonna have to blur out anything that's copyrighted, even a smidge bit, because you know YouTube's algorithm would be like. So yeah. at Penn State, so I claim nothing of this music. Just want to point that out before someone else decides to copyright me because of the already copyrighted music. So this is all in my Penn State. Yeah, we're kind of heading out already. Our shift is over, so unfortunately it's time for me to say goodbye and good night for tonight. And I'll see you guys for a long rest of the weekend starting tomorrow, where we're gonna be there from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then we get back into Fresh Sports Center at like 12 a.m. Sunday. So see you guys then for some more fun. Bye. Good morning, everyone, and hello. It's a little earlier than I thought it was going to be. Our schedule changed a bit because of what's been going on in the hotel. We've been there's been a charge for using the shuttle, so we're going to be changing our schedule so we won't get charged as much. So yeah, that's going to be fun.
This is so much fun to be on the floor. It's so enjoyable to get past. And congratulations to this group. I forget which one it is. Name right here. Thank you for supporting Rachel. Hopefully she stays strong in her fight, her battles with cancer. And yeah. Thank you everyone who's been coming out here. This is amazing. There's so many of us that are out here for this class. And it is so cool.
Every other one.
We got a live look at our hair donors right now. And it's really, really exciting. This is our first round. I'll show the other rounds too, but this is really awesome what these guys, these ladies, and maybe gentlemen, are doing. So, it's so awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the first international sighting in Florence for Penn State THON.
Well, we're just getting mobbed, so it was a little bit treacherous to maneuver around the floor, trying to get out and everything. So now it's time for me to kind of get everything situated for our departure. My shift is over. I get to head back to my dorm, or not my dorm, my hotel room. But I'm gonna be an idiot and state this out because last year I stood up for non-stop 24 hours, and this year I want to do it for 33 hours continuously. So that means I'm only in total I would only be 7 hours away from not sitting like the dancers would be, because I would be standing 7 hours less, but continuously 13 hours less. So. Yep, I'm an idiot. I'm gonna do this. I said it on camera. It's gonna happen now. 33 hours. Let's go. Sorry guys, I had to step out here for a second because I don't want to get copy strike because of the music being played in there right now, and I think you guys can hear it a little bit. But anyways, what happened in the last hour or so, hour and a half by this point by now, was that we had Cash here at the stadium. That was so awesome because I didn't realize they were a full EDM group. I thought they were like half EDM and half like pop or whatever, but like that was really awesome to hear their songs and to see what they do. Like that really made me so happy that we had Cash over. I'm like, that was like the most incredible thing. Anyways, I'm still standing. I'm dying a little bit, but hey, you know what? It's for the kids. If I die happily, knowing that I fought this with kids. Anyways, I gotta go back to my section. Time to start Sunday and time to roll on.
All right, we are just going to have to see how the crowd does. Is everyone ready in the crowd? On your mark, get set, go!
There's Mario. Luigi should be somewhere over there.
Looks like Mario is taking a little tumble. Luigi's still looking good.
That's Luigi. Sorry, that's Mario over there.
Are we collecting the coins?
Whoa! Keep that boy moving. Get that Luigi. Luigi needs to be a number one.
Mario is officially in shambles. He can't still make his way there.
There goes the Luigi, but there's a Mario. Mario's a little bit behind. Oh. There's a Mario, there's a Luigi. And it's a Luigi. Hey, sorry I haven't been able to record really much through here because, like, mainly, not this hallway specific, but mainly because it's been busy and I've been trying to be with the dancers more than record, so. Anyways, back to upstairs. So if you can't tell, I'm in the deep voice where I can't really speak much because I've hoarsed it too bad. And it's gonna get hoarsed even more. So, yep, time to venture forth into the night, or into the mornings, I should say. Let's live out the rest of these hours. What an excellent painting, handcrafted, live here at THON. What an amazing picture. How's everyone feeling? How you feeling? Tired? Yeah, gotta figure that part. How's everyone else feeling? Good? Great, awesome. Real excited. We're gonna get ready to start the Final Four.
Accompanying Shiloh is her sister Harper. Harper is 5, just started kindergarten, loves to draw and write, and loves to play soccer and run. So she's really looking forward to summer.
Balloon! Balloon! Balloon. Pop.
So ignoring the copyright music, there are dancers, families are going to be coming up and talking about what they're doing with their lives and what's happening with their kids. So let's tune into that. This is probably going to be the longest part of the episode, but this is going to be the most important part about this wonderful weekend.
We're the Jordans, and you guys are almost done. We are so proud of you. We want to thank the dancers on the floor for your sacrifice this whole weekend. We also want to thank all the students in the stands. You guys don't get the same support. You stand up there. You stand. You grind it out along with everyone else. All the volunteers. Thank you so much. This is our 5th THON, and we are constantly overwhelmed by your strength and your love, and we cannot thank you enough, so thank you. When Luke asked us to speak at Family Hour, we were really honored, but we were also petrified. They look great. They did a great job. Was we said, fine, we'll definitely love to talk on behalf of 4 Diamonds, but we're not going to do it. We're going to have Lily do it. Because Lily Jordan...
just get that out of the way. I'm Lily. I'm 17. I'm from Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. I'm sure by looking at me, you can kind of tell something happened, and that something was cancer. When I was 12, I was diagnosed with a rare bone cancer called osteosarcoma, and I've been on and off treatment ever since. Since my diagnosis, I've had more surgeries and relapses and treatments than I can even count, and to be perfectly honest, I don't think I can come up with the words to describe how much I've lost. But the first thing that happens to you when you start treatment at Penn State Hershey is you get a THON org. And they told us ours was the CrossFit Club. And I didn't know what to think, because we thought they'd be, for lack of a better term, a bunch of meatheads. They were, but we still love them. Pleasantly surprised. So in the midst of all this fear and loneliness that comes with cancer, Four Diamonds gave me what quickly turned into a second family that I can talk to and text and communicate with whenever, and it's truly. Actually, Hannah was the one of our dancers was the one who got me tickets this summer to go see the Jonas Brothers. I'm sure some of you know how that story ends. For the few of you that don't, I was not able to go to the concert because I was doing treatment, so they came to me.
Oh!
Thanks, Jonas Brothers. Everyone always gushes to me, even people I don't know and never have met in the grocery store, tell me how amazing and awesome that was that the Jonas Brothers talked to me, and it was. It was incredible, one of the most crazy, incredible things that ever happened. But you didn't see in that video that went kind of viral, you didn't see 5 minutes before they came into my room and I was curled up in a ball in my hospital bed crying because I was in so much pain. Or my nurses and my mom seriously debating just canceling the whole thing because I just, my body was just tired and sick. Or the fact that that was my last chemo that I did this summer because I'm still on treatment, don't get too excited. I'm just not chemo anymore. But cancer, it wrecks your body and it wrecks your mind and it wrecks your entire life, and it really flips everything upside down in the worst possible way. But Four Diamonds gave me a family and friends and the best support group I could have ever asked for, and I mean, just thank you for that. So.
First of all, I would like to thank all of you for all you do to fight for a cure. My family has so much admiration and gratitude to you, so thank you. Kind, compassionate, generous, and sensitive, these are words I've so often used to describe Celia before her diagnosis. Her first thoughts were always for someone else. When she was turning 5, I asked her what she wanted for her birthday. Her reply was that she wanted 2 of something so that her big sister and favorite person, Adeline, would have something too. Her kindness knew no bounds. Celia was always the quiet one, happily standing on the sidelines, cheering on her sister at her plays and performances. She'd rather be someone's cheerleader than take on the attention. She was never one to complain about much, never wanting to cause an upset. So when she started to show signs of sickness, it took longer than it should have for anyone to notice. During the summer of 2018, Celia started to feel not quite herself. She complained of headaches, had a decline in appetite, started vomiting, lost a fair amount of weight, and was fatigued. It increasingly got worse over the summer, and we took her to the pediatrician repeatedly. When they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her, they treated her for gastrointestinal issues. She was scheduled for an appointment with a Hershey pediatric GI, but the soonest they could see her was in January, which was 5 months away. I had no idea how Celia would make it that long with no relief. She was at the point where she couldn't go a day without vomiting and could barely walk around the block without feeling like she was going to fall over. On August 15th, 2018, she was at her lowest. I again called the pediatrician, who instructed me to go to the Hershey ER as a means of getting into the GI department sooner. I took her to the ER, where she was seen by a nurse, a med student, a resident, and a fellow, none of whom could find anything concrete wrong with her. They told me my best bet was to get on the waiting list of every major GI specialist around. At this point, I was so frustrated because I knew that this was not a GI issue, but there was nothing more they could do on their level. They handed me the discharge paperwork, and crying, I asked if they could at least give Celia some Tylenol so she could have some relief from her headache on the drive home. For some reason this time, the mention of a headache sparked something in the doctor, and he decided not to discharge her, but to order a CT scan just to be safe. It was midnight. We were tired, frustrated, and Celia wanted to go home, but I was thankful to have just one more test. Then the nurse came and asked me to go into another room with the doctor while she stayed with Celia. As we were walking, my heart was in my stomach, but I told myself they were calling me in to tell me to stop being so overly dramatic, that there was nothing wrong with Celia. I tried desperately to believe this, as a louder voice in my head told me something is terribly wrong. I got to the room where the doctor and a chaplain were waiting for me. There is a large mass on your daughter's brain. Those words and my screams are all I heard. I remember yelling at the doctor that I knew something was wrong and why wouldn't anyone listen to me these past 2 months. He grabbed me by the shoulders and told me that my daughter was going to take her cues from me and I had to pull myself together for her. It sounds harsh in retrospect, but I repeated those words to myself over the next year and still today. My daughter is going to take her cues from me. Celia was admitted into the PICU, where she would stay for 15 days. I remember how long that felt at the time, having no idea that that would be our shortest hospital stay for the next 9 months. During Celia's time in the PICU, she was unconscious, had a breathing tube, a chest tube, was restrained to the bed to keep herself from pulling the tubes out, had a drain put in her frontal lobe, and had a resection attempt, where we learned that the mass was in such a precarious position that a full removal would be impossible. During our stay, Dr. Greiner, an oncologist, came to talk with us, and I couldn't understand why. And that's when I learned that a mass is a tumor, and a tumor is cancer, and our baby had cancer. When Celia was in recovery, with a breathing tube and a chest tube and no way to communicate other than a whiteboard, she wrote to me, "I feel okay to go home now." This sweet girl had no idea what was in store for her, and neither did we. She started treatment for her cancer, a hybrid of tumors called CNS ganglioneuroblastoma, on September 17th, 1 month and a day after the discovery. She ended up having 5 cycles of a harsh 5-drug regimen of chemo, followed by 3 cycles of a high-dose chemo and stem cell rescue, followed by 30 rounds of radiation and CHOP. In all, we lived at Hershey from September to May, an entire school year. I missed Adeline's entire 6th grade year. During that time, Celia developed severe hearing loss, lost mobility in her legs and use of her hands, developed hypertension and cardiac issues, received almost daily transfusions, 152 in all, suffered from hospital delirium, had a collapsed lung twice, had hemorrhagic cystitis, BK virus, neuropathy, and a host of other complications that I can't even remember. It was around the 3rd cycle of chemo that Celia became someone I didn't recognize. She had gotten so angry, and who could blame her? She would yell at the doctors and nurses, refuse to participate in activities, and worst of all, wouldn't play or interact with Adeline. Our sweet, quiet girl was filled with such rage and despair that we truly didn't know how she would make it through 2 more rounds of chemo and transplant. But I didn't want to tell her not to be angry. I wanted her to know that she had every right to feel everything she felt, but we had to find a different channel for it. Celia worked with child life and music and art therapy and learned how to redirect her anger towards cancer and the fight. Instead of yelling at staff, she learned how to advocate for herself. They taught her how to use her voice to speak up for what she needed. Then sometime during the 4th cycle, I started noticing a shift in Celia. She was still getting angry, but she started focusing her anger on the cancer and not on people. She smiled more. She spoke up for herself. She was not only interested in doing activities, she was initiating them. Her room was filled with science experiments, and when she wasn't on isolation, we were wandering the hospital for hours at a time. She was still feeling and acknowledging her feelings. She still had days when she was mad or sad or didn't want to do anything, but don't we all have those days? But her smiles were more than her tears. I asked her about it one day and she said, "I just decided it's better to be happy than angry." It's better to be happy than angry. There are people who go their whole lives who were never able to come to that realization. That statement became the guidepost for the remainder of her treatment, and I believe it served us well. I will never say there is a bright side or a silver lining to cancer. There just isn't. But we have come away with a couple new lessons. One is to always, always advocate for yourself. Never let fear of upsetting someone take away your need to make sure you have the best of what you deserve. Insist on being heard. Use your voice and use it loudly and make yourself heard. Another lesson we take away from Celia's cancer is that when possible, it's better to be happy than angry. Positivity doesn't cure cancer, we know that, but it does make dealing with all the horrible awfulness of it a little bit easier. Like Celia, be kind, be compassionate, be generous, be sensitive, but also like Celia, be strong, be brave, be resilient, and be fierce. Perhaps the most valuable takeaway for us is that sometimes you find friends in the most devastating times. There's a popular saying in the cancer world: cancer turns friends into strangers and strangers into friends. In no situation is that more true than with THON. While we were struggling through Celia's cancer, we lost some friends and some friendships weakened. I hear that's pretty common. But while that was happening, another relationship was forming, and that's the relationship with THON, and more notably, our org, Ultimate Frisbee.
Hi everyone! How's everyone doing?
Good.
So, some of you have probably seen us before and heard us speak, and I've never written anything down, so this is my big chaotic mess, and I'm going to try and stick to that. Before we start, I do need to really just give a huge thank you to our org B House, and we do have 2 of our dancers, so Katie and Emily, we really appreciate you guys. So I was truly honored and humbled when Luke called me and asked us to be a family speaker this year. To be given the opportunity to tell so many people about our sweet boy and the immense love and appreciation that we have for our THON family was just quite a blessing to us. A lot of people never see the dark side of cancer, what it does to the children, the suffering that they endure, and as such, families like ours, the suffering that we go through. It's heartbreaking and gut-wrenching and traumatic. And as much as I know that non-cancer families need to hear about that darkness and experience that we go through, to truly begin to understand what it's like for families such as ours, that's not what I want to focus on today. I want to focus on William, because he was so much more than his cancer journey. And since I have this amazing opportunity to tell so many of you about him, that's exactly what I want to do. Because William was amazing, and I want you to know that. William, where do I even begin? He was always watching out for someone that needed a friend, whether it was a new kid at school, someone struggling with their schoolwork, or just someone that was sad.
William was also very humble. He was an old soul with a giggle that was contagious. He had gorgeous blue eyes that just drew you in and super long lashes that made so many women jealous. Sorry. You couldn't help but to fall in love with him. There was just something extra special about him. But above all of that, William was born to fish. He was an amazing fisherman with a knowledge and skill that a lot of adults never possess. William was witty, but also still very naive. So, a quick story about William. Derek, William, and I were driving down the highway, and we passed a billboard, and I heard William say, "That stuff doesn't work." And intrigued, I looked at the billboard just quick enough to see that it was advertising Head and Shoulders. So I'm like, I honestly had no clue how William would even know about Head and Shoulders, but so I asked him, I'm like, "So what do you mean?" So William starts telling us about how his shoulder and neck had been hurting him when he had spent the night at my parents' house. While he was in the shower, he saw the bottle of Head and Shoulders and rubbed some of it on his shoulder. And it took me a second, and I'm like, "William, that's a dander shampoo. It's not supposed to help your shoulder." And in his cute little voice, he was just like, "Oh." And we just all busted out laughing, and that was just William. He was comical in a very naive way. When William first got diagnosed, I honestly wasn't that afraid. That may sound weird, but I was just like, okay, we've got something to fight. We have a name. A few weeks after his original diagnosis of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, we found out that William had a rare subtype. Again, not great news, but we are a determined family, and we knew that we got this. Through it all, William always remained in good spirits. Even on the days where he didn't feel well, he never once complained. Along his journey, William got to meet some amazing people. He got to experience some amazing things. Aside from fishing, William loved dirt track racing and ice hockey. I cannot even begin to describe what it meant to William when 3 players from the Hershey Bears came to the hospital just to see him. They didn't wear their jerseys because they didn't want to draw attention to themselves, but they brought a jersey for William. Later, when William was well enough, the Bears actually invited him to a practice. He got to tour the locker room and actually got to skate on the ice during an official practice. William was on cloud 9. He felt like he was the luckiest kid alive, and the Hershey Bears did that for him. This is just one of the times where William was made to feel so very special. He just couldn't believe that people would do something like that for him. William had a great team of doctors and nurses at Penn State Children's Hospital. He especially liked Dr. Ken, Dr. Greiner, and Terry Shapiro. We also had some amazing clinic nurses like Holly, but William's favorite clinic nurse, however, was Mary Francis. For those of you that don't know Mary Francis, she is a strong, unafraid woman. I really think she is the only Notre Dame fan working at a Penn State hospital, and she does not hide her Irish pride whatsoever. Mary Francis loved William. On clinic days, if William got assigned to a different nurse, Mary Francis would actually erase his name off the whiteboard under that nurse and move him to her. So she essentially would steal William any chance she got, and William just got the biggest kick out of that. But to have doctors and nurses that love your son that much, you know that they are in the best hands. William had a bone marrow transplant shortly after diagnosis and did remarkably well. Exactly 1 year to the day of his original diagnosis, William rang the bell at Hershey, signifying he was cancer-free. Unfortunately, thank you, we were all pretty excited that day, and for those of you that don't know, when you ring that bell, sometimes you feel like you can stop looking over your shoulder and kind of get back to living life as it was. But unfortunately, that was short-lived. Just 5 weeks later, unfortunately, we found out that William had relapsed. If you think hearing the word cancer is bad, I can assure you that hearing the word relapse is 10 times worse. Cancer came back with a vengeance, and it was not kind to William. But through all of this, our THON family was there, checking on us, supporting us, letting us know how very much we were loved. You have been our anchor when we were lost, our life vest when we were drowning, and our best catch on a glorious sunny day. What each of you do for families like ours is absolutely priceless. There truly is no way to adequately describe what THON means to our family. The amount of yourselves that you freely, willingly, and purposely give to families like ours is truly astounding. Those pieces of yourselves that you so freely give, that's what holds families like ours together. That's what allows us to simply be able to love our children and not to worry about how the medical bills will get paid. You are a light radiating out to the siblings who so desperately need you. Even on our darkest days, you have never left us. You remain steadfast in your devotion to finding a cure. And for that, a million thank yous wouldn't even scratch the surface to show you just how much you are appreciated. If I may quote Miles, he said about William, "His light is the legacy of a soft-spoken boy who taught the world how to live." And live is exactly what we plan to do. Because of William and for William. When my story eventually comes to an end, William and THON will absolutely be one of my most beautiful chapters. William's absence is felt every single day, but so is his love. And that love is what guides me. And I am forever grateful that we were chosen to raise such an amazing boy. After losing William, I struggled. I felt like a stranger in my own skin, and I didn't feel right anywhere. My world had suddenly been shaken to oblivion. But because of William, I fought to accept this new life. A world without William. We had never given up hope throughout William's fight, and William always found joy in every day. And that's exactly what he would want for us, to continue on, finding joy wherever we could along the way.
So the video that just played in there was a celebration video of every kid who has died or has lost the battle to cancer. Like that's, and I just want to point that out because like that's the reason why I do THON. That's the literal reason why I do THON, and so that video really speaks volumes to me, and unfortunately it hits me a little bit too hard. So anyways, I'm heading back up. We're gonna wrap this up. Yeah, this is how you finish off. They thought even. Oh! Lights are off! Oh! 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're number 5 again.
Efforts of the entire THON community. Here are some facts about our work this year. Viewers from 76 different countries have tuned in to the THON Weekend live stream presented by 46 Live this weekend alone. And at this moment, we are currently joined by more than 10,000 people tuning into the live stream. As a community in 2020, we have generated the funds to support 7,798 weeks of psychological counseling, 58,485 days of nutritional therapy, 16,246 days of outpatient child life support, 4,679 weeks of lab experiments, 7,798 weeks for a team to manage all patient needs, and 11,140 weeks of prescription drug copay coverage. celebrate 43 years of partnership with Four Diamonds, we celebrate the combined efforts of thousands of alumni and volunteers who have helped to support over 4,000 families since 1977. During these 43 years, not one family has received a medical bill. And finally, the total for THON 2020 Journey Together is
Yeah, we're heading out. I don't know if I'll vlog anymore, but we'll see. I am one tired boy, and I'm just gonna be heading to bed. So thank you guys for watching this wonderful weekend. A very awesome, amazing, and very important wonderful weekend that I'm recording. So I'll see you guys next weekend. And you know what's coming, so live life.